Historical background of Indian Constitution. Advent of British in India. 1600. The East India Company got a charter from Queen Elizabeth I, giving it a monopoly of trade with the East. 1608. The first settlement was established at Surat after receiving a royal farman from Emperor Jahangir. Factories were later set up at Bombay, Calcutta and Madras, which eventually became presidencies. Charter of 1601. The company was permitted to make minor laws and ordinances, but it couldn't change English law. Charter of 1661. The company was granted the power to try civil and criminal cases according to English law. This was the first time English law was applied in India. Charter of 1726. The governor and council of the three presidencies were given the authority to make laws and punish offenders, with the approval of the directors in England. Mayors' courts were established at Bombay, Calcutta and Madras, officially introducing English laws. 1757. The Battle of Plassey took place, in which the company defeated Siraj-ud-Dowlah, the Nawab of Bengal, laying the foundation for the British Empire in India. 1765. Shah Alam granted the company Diwani rights, revenue collection and civil administration for Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. Regulating Act, 1773. This was the first time the British Parliament regulated the company's affairs. The Court of Directors was placed under the control of the British government. A Governor-General of Bengal and 4 councillors were created. Control was extended over the Bombay and Madras presidencies. Decisions were made by a majority vote, and the Governor-General had a casting vote in case of a tie. Lord Warren Hastings became the first Governor-General of Bengal. A Supreme Court was set up in Calcutta in 1774, with Sir Elijah Impey as the first Chief Justice. Pitt's India Act 1784. This act was passed to address the defects of the Regulating Act. It divided the company's affairs into commercial, handled by the Court of Directors, and political, handled by the Board of Control. The Board of Control reported to Parliament, which brought Indian affairs under the direct control of the British government. Charter Act 1813. The company's monopoly on trade ended, opening it to all British merchants. The regulations made by the councils had to be placed before Parliament. A sum of 1 lakh rupees was allocated for Indian education. Missionaries were permitted, and the promotion of literature and science was encouraged. Charter Act 1833. The Governor-General of Bengal was redesignated as the Governor-General of India. The first to hold this title was Lord William Bentinck. Lawmaking power was centralized in the Council of the Governor-General. The first Law Commission was established under Lord Macaulay. Charter Act 1853. A separate legislative council was created for India. Local representation was introduced for the first time. An open competitive exam was introduced for civil services. The company continued to rule, but its territories were held in trust for the British Crown. Government of India Act 1858. This act transferred power from the company to the British Crown. The Board of Control and the Court of Directors were abolished. A Secretary of State for India with a 15-member council was appointed in the British Cabinet. The Governor-General was redesignated as the Viceroy of India. The first to hold this title was Lord Canning. Indian Councils Act 1861. This act laid the basis for a federal framework. The Governor-General's Council was enlarged with 6 to 12 members, half of whom were non-official, and for the first time, Indians were included in the legislative process. It restored legislative powers to the presidencies. Provincial legislatures were empowered to make local laws. Indian Councils Act 1909, Morley Minto reforms. This act introduced separate electorates for Muslims, which legalized communalism. The legislative councils were expanded at both the central and provincial levels. Indians were included in the executive councils for the first time, with Satyendra Prasad Sinha being the first to join. Government of India Act 1919, Montagu-Chelmsford reforms. Diarchy was introduced in the provinces, dividing subjects into reserved and transferred lists. The central legislature became bicameral, consisting of the Council of State and the Legislative Assembly. Provincial legislatures were expanded. The act led to the establishment of the Public Service Commission and laid the groundwork for the Reserve Bank. Simon Commission 1927. The commission had 7 members, all of whom were British, chaired by John Simon. Indians opposed it because there were no Indian members. Its report 1930 was a major factor in the creation of the Government of India Act 1935. Government of India Act 1935. This act formed the basis of the Indian Constitution. It proposed an All India Federation, which never materialized. It introduced diarchy at the center. A federal court was established in 1937. It created a bicameral legislature at the center. It established 3 lists, federal, provincial and concurrent, defining the division of powers. It led to the setting up of the Reserve Bank of India. Cripps Mission, 1942. It offered dominion status to India after World War II. It proposed that Indians could frame their own constitution. Cabinet Mission Plan 1946. It proposed the creation of a Constituent Assembly to draft the constitution. It recommended the formation of an interim government with Indian leaders. It envisioned a union of India, comprising British India and the princely states, with limited subjects like defense, foreign affairs, and communication. Indian Independence Act 1947. It led to the creation of two independent dominions, India and Pakistan. Each dominion was to have a governor-general. The constituent assemblies of both nations were given the power to frame their own laws. The authority of the British Crown lapsed. A boundary commission, led by Sir Cyril Radcliffe, was established to draw the border.